All right, everyone. We have to start off today talking about the dysfunction of the DNC. They are simply not listening. We'll be talking separately later about Alexandria Occasional Cortex and her various problems. She just got screwed by Tom Homan, not literally. I don't think that he would stick his dick in crazy in that way and a live stream. We're going to talk about severally a different poll of Democrats. They appear to be committing political suicide, actually, more than anything else. Link in the description, archived, of course. There are certain liberal commentators that are trying to warn. They're trying to help. I mean, these are Democrats. These are not people who are from the right. They're trying to warn the DNC in general and Democrats more broadly. Hey, we're making a bunch of tactical blunders right now. The infighting within our party is completely unacceptable. We don't really have a leader. We don't really have anything other than Orange Man bad, but Orange Man will not be running in the midterms because he'll still be the incumbent and he can't run in 2028. So, get your gear together and get your ass in motion and try to formulate an actual defense strategy. Now, I personally believe that the Democratic Party right now is effectively incapable of being positively changed under the current circumstances. As long as Trump is president, they're going to run around in circles and do the orange man bad thing. So there's really no way for them to formulate a defense strategy at all. My hope is that they get absolutely crushed in the 28 election and in the midterms prior, and that hopefully at some point it in their dim minds it clicks and they say, well, maybe we need to do something different. Like, maybe we need to reform our party. Is there a reason why people keep rejecting us over and over again? Well, yeah, there is a reason. Because you're whining and dining the left, but they're schismatic with your own party. You've basically abandoned the Union Dems. They've all become Trump Republicans again because of economic conditions. If you stood for something that was sane, and if you had a sane platform, even I would consider voting for you. Um, because I mean, I'm not a Republican, but you don't have a saying. There is no platform. How can I even gauge what you're going to do when I don't know, given day by day, what you actually intend to do? You're not telling me. I mean, I've got one Democrat telling me that we want to ban all guns and another one saying, nah, everything's fine. I've got a Democrat telling me that we need to make the first $50,000 of income tax free, which actually is a great idea. Anytime you can lessen taxes, it's a good thing. But then I've got another one saying, no, no, we need to go after those billionaires. In other terms, raise prices considerably. I've got one Democrat saying the tariffs actually are a good idea. They believed in them before. But then I've got another one saying Orange Man bad. Basically, he's Hitler. Uh, I don't know what you stand for as a party. I know what the Republicans generally stand for. It's quite clear. But that's because they've got an actual centralized leader. They've actually got somebody with organizational capacity leading them. Are you pro or anti-war? I want to know because it depends on the day, I suppose, and which person that I ask. Liberal commentators, a few of them, are prosaic enough to try to warn the DNC. They're trying to help them win. They're warning them that if you don't have an actual platform, you don't have an actual leader, and the DNC is all fucked up at any given moment, you're not going to win jack. You're not going to win jack shit. Well, yeah, no shit. Of course. This is not necessarily the most heavy-hitting commentary either, because those of us who are more independent can already see it now. Of course, at the same time, you do have problems in the Republican Party. There are people like Mitch McConnell, for example, that are not going along with what effectively is their leader's party line. So there is a lack of organization to some degree there, but it pales in comparison to what I'm seeing from the Democrats. As you'll see in the next video with Holman v. AOC, you've got a lot of people in the Democratic Party that are clearly contending to be leaders, but it's a jam-packed field. None of them really stand out, and they keep fighting one another on an ideological basis. Well, going into the midterms, that's not necessarily the best footing that you can be on. On the Republican side, you don't have this problem because you've got an incumbent. So the Democrats may pull off a 1 in 10 sort of situation, which is, I believe, about the ratio, where they manage to lose the midterms and actually lose support in the House and the Senate despite being the out party. People are very fickle. And so typically, the party that is ruling the roost, unless it's doing a really, really stellar job, typically loses seats in the House and Senate. Now, you would think, of course, then the Democrats, at a bare minimum, would retake the House because, it's would be favorable towards them under those circumstances. But with Trump's approval seemingly rising again and being relatively good for after the first 100 days anyway, and with the Democrats not really able to formulate a strategy, I'm beginning to think that these midterms are going to be a goddamn bloodbath for the Democrats. Which to them, I mean, I don't give a shit, but to them would be a disaster. If that manages to happen, by the way, it'll knock out some of the possible presidential contenders. Some of them could be out on their ass, so to speak, in the midterms. AOC doesn't have this problem. Again, we'll be talking about her several times today. But some of them, they might end up getting fucked, basically. And they deserve it because it's no longer a serious political party, at least at the moment. My hope is that the Democrats crash and burn, and then somebody comes along, somebody sane, and reformulates the party and makes it into something that I'm capable of voting for. Because right now, effectively, for my opinion, it is a one-party system. There is only one party that I'm capable of really voting for. And I don't give a shit about the down ballot races, generally speaking. Sometimes I vote for the occasional Democrat. Sometimes I vote for the occasional Republican. When I voted in the last election, do you know what I did for most of those slots? A write-in. And it was like, I'm voting Mickey Mouse for this position. I'm voting Hitler for this position. Stalin can have that one, I'm sure that they'll get along splendidly, by the way, and so forth. I think I voted for Dwight Eisenhower, actually, for at least one of the positions. Of course, he can't hold office, but I mean, a skeleton would probably be better than many politicians in Congress right now, so it's all good. I'm not going to vote for Bernie Sanders, that's for sure. He's he's warped at this point. I mean, I don't even know what he's doing. It's again inexplicable. That's about all. Peace out.